Hello, my friends. How you doing today? I am doing well, and as promised, I am going to give my review on Eli Roth's History of Horror, Season 2.
What's the most disturbing genre in movies? For some people, horror is where our nightmares come to life.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
It's a character that has survived as a pop cultural icon.
Creepy as F?
I'm Eli Roth, back with the biggest stars and darkest minds in horror. Join us for a deep dive into even more of the scariest horror classic.
I absolutely loved Season 1 of this. Season 1 was awesome. I mean, I'm going to tell you what this does to the collector, okay? If you are a horror fan, you need to start collecting these. You need to start watching these. They come on AMC. I'm not a streamer. I'm a physical movie collector, so I had to buy the physical version. I don't even have AMC on my TV, so it doesn't even make a difference. But I had to get this because the first one was so good. Now, he has a range of different special guests from Stephen King, Quentin Tarantino, Bill Hader, Piper Laurie, Nancy Allen, Slash, Rob Zombie, and many, many more. And what this is a documentary on different... Okay, so let me see if we get this straight. Different horror genres. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to open this up because it'll make it easier for me to explain exactly. It comes with 2 discs inside, okay? There's no digital copy or anything. But the first one has Houses of Hell, Monsters, and Body Horror. So let's just talk about that for a second there. Houses of Hell. So what this is a documentary, and what he does is he breaks down different horror movies with the theme. So if we're talking Houses of Hell, we're talking Amityville Horror. We're talking, let me think of Last House on the Left. We're talking things that had to do with houses, okay? And the next one was Monsters. So of course we're talking aliens. We're talking the classic movies. And he has interviews with these actors now. Nothing I love more than to see in my all-time favorite actors, horror movie actors, what they look like now, what they think about what they did when they filmed these movies, the secrets behind them, and that's what this thing is all about. It's just so well done. And the last one is Body Horror, which has a lot to do with it. It's got like Hellraiser stuff. It has to do with torturous things with the body, okay? And to tell you the truth, these are on AMC, so they're graphic in a not for kids. It's definitely not a kid thing because it has to do horror movies. It has to do with the horror genres, and they do show scenes from each of these movies. So yeah, it's not really for the kids. Next disc in this collection has the topic of witches, chilling children, and 9 nightmares. Now, I binge watched this thing. I put this thing in. I could not wait to see it. After I did my video on my pickups and it came in the mail, I was like, I have to watch. I binge watched this thing. I watched one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I got to tell you right now, they were so good. The Witches one, there was a couple of movies that I did not own. I did not own, I think it was just called The Witch. I did not own The Witch. So the funny thing is what this thing does is as you're watching it, you're like, wow. Like what that looks like an amazing horror movie. I gotta see it. And what this does with me is I'm sitting there and I got my iPad on my lap and I'm like, how much is this? And how much is this? And how much is this? I don't own this. I want to find this. I want to see this. Because they build it up so much and get you so excited about the thing that they're talking about. You're like, why don't I have this in my collection? Man, I'm a failure. I'm a failure because I don't have this in my collection. The Chilling Children one was great. Children of the Corn, The Bad Seed, The Good Son. There was just so many like really It's Alive, the one about the island there. Wow, I got to tell you, the documentary is just awesome, and they're not that long. I think each one is, I want to say, is an hour long each documentary. So I mean, you do get enough information for you to keep moving on. It does have special features. I still have a piece of plastic stuck on it. It's great. It's absolutely great, and I think Eli Roth is a very talented guy, and obviously a huge fan of horror. I mean, you know. I'm a huge fan of horror, man. I watch horror movies, and I dissect them. My wife wanted me to watch a horror movie this morning, and it was on Netflix, whatever. And I'm watching. It starred the girl from Grey's Anatomy, Katherine Heigl. I'm saying her name right. Some other girl and whatever, but it was something Rain. It was the girl's name was the title. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, and I look at my wife, and I'm like, is this Katherine Heigl after Grey's Anatomy? Like, I need a job and I'm gonna make a movie for Netflix, and it's probably going to be a stinker. You know what I mean? And as I'm watching the thing, I'm like, wow, is this? It was like so. What's the word I'm looking for? Predictable. It was so predictable. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my wife, and she's like, she's biting her nails and everything, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, obviously. My wife is she likes horror movies. She'll watch horror movies when she really enjoys horror movies. But she has not seen the horror movies that I've seen. I mean, there's certain horror movies that even my wife, I would not want her to watch. You know, like I don't. She's never watched The Last House on the Left. She's never seen I Spit on Your Grave. She's never seen you know, some of the real rough stuff. You know, Cabin in the Woods, Cabin Fever, Eli Roth, Cabin Fever. I personally don't feel comfortable watching with her. But I'm a huge horror fan. So she's watching this thing and she's like biting her nail. She's at the edge of her seat, and I'm like, I'm getting bored. I'm like, this is going nowhere. You know, this is nothing. This is like every horror movie stolen, and it had so much foreshadowing going on. I'm like, this is what's gonna happen next because they stole this from this movie, and this is what's gonna happen next because they stole it from this movie. But I'll tell you right now, this documentary, man, this Eli Roth, he knows his stuff. Rob Zombie, they know this stuff. I mean, you may not be a big fan of the Halloween franchise that Rob Zombie put together, but personally, I gotta tell you, I put the Rob Zombie Halloween on the side of the original Halloween, and they stand together. I mean, they stand together. They stand strong, and I think Rob Zombie knows his stuff. So, I mean, what he's gonna do with the Munsters, I don't know, but everything I've seen has been good. Lords of Salem? Lords of Salem, I had a little bit of problem with because I'm not a big, which they talk a lot about that Lords of Salem actually in the witch part of this documentary type thing. But if you have not seen History of Horror, brought to you by Eli Roth, season 2, season 1, they're great. They're absolutely great, very entertaining. If you're a horror fan, this is absolutely a must. You will not be, I promise you will not be disappointed. It really ropes you in, and it introduces you to new titles that you do not own or you've never even heard of. I'm telling you, there's a couple of them I was like, I've never heard of it. There's a couple of them that are like foreign films, you know what I mean, like foreign horror films, and I'm like, nah, I'm not reading. I'm not about that reading stuff. I'm not gonna read anything. But there's quite a few of them that I was like, I gotta order it. As soon as I get off this thing, I gotta order it, and that's what happened. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember what it was. I think there's something wrong with Kevin. Something wrong. That sounds like something. I think it was called There's Something Wrong with Kevin. It was about this kid that he's just like a maniac, and the mother's raising the kid, and she knows that there's something wrong with him, but she just keeps on going on or whatever. And eventually, it has to do with him becoming like almost like a school shooter type situation. You know, it's a sad thing, but it looked super entertaining. It started the guy from Perks of Being a Wallflower. But I wouldn't know anything about it unless I saw this. So I just wanted you to know that the History of Horror Season 2, Eli Roth is out there. And this thing is great. If you're a horror collector, it's an absolute must. And that is my little review on Eli Roth's History of Horror Season 2. And with that said, do me a favor, my friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And I will see you later.